Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Fun Size, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Prime Battle LR tier list because it was requested by one of you guys. So we're going to be taking a look at that today. I do have a top 10, if you will, going on here in this tier list we got going on. So we're going to be taking a look at not only the characters, but then also the passives of these characters, because I need to give reasoning and a little bit of context, because I don't have a lot of these characters, right? If any of them, on my other account, right? Or on my main account, I should say, my JP account. I had them on my other account, and my experience is that they weren't easy aid and all that other stuff. So I can't really give too much insight on these, but I can read their passives and basically give a relatively good judgment of how well they would actually perform in a real fight, just based off of some of the numbers. Now, that's not completely like definitive of what the character actually could potentially do. So take this tier list with a grain of salt, because again, I don't have a whole lot of experience with these units. So starting off, obviously, because they are the oldest of the units, which would be Goku and Frieza. Goku, in my opinion, is not... Oh, wow, I actually made this a lot smaller than I anticipated. I didn't realize it was that small. Okay, my bad. Anyway, Goku and Frieza, right? I'll put them at 10 and 9 because here, I'll explain. I'll read their passives and then we'll go over why I place them where I place them. These two are very, very old. And here we go. So we got Goku here. Goku is basically doing nothing but giving ki if he's attacking an extreme class enemy. That's basically it. Like that's it. That is all. And he has to be in the first slot. You're not going to run this character in slot 1 ever. Literally ever. Any of these characters up here, you're never ever going to run them in slot 1 because they're not needed in slot 1. Okay, they're usually just kind of characters that you just play around with for fun. I don't really know anybody that would actually use these characters like that. I mean, granted, you can use them for other events that basically don't allow you to use any of these other characters that are summonable, and you have to just use these. But even if you only had these to use, this is probably your worst option out of all of them. Besides his leader skill, right? Besides the leader skill, I would say, because it is superclass allies key +4, you know, attack and defense at HP 90%. And then extreme class, I mean, he even has an extreme class, you know, lead as well. So that is something to take into consideration as well when using these characters. But just if we're going off of just solely the character and not their leader skill and all of these other factors that are included, we're just going to add him right where he's at, and he's going to be at 10. Okay, because he's not doing a whole lot in his passive. And I mean, neither is Frieza. However, you do get the freedom and flexibility to get the buff on first or third attacker in a turn, which is important because most of the time you're going to be rotating these characters off anyway. And we're talking in like mainstay of the game, not necessarily just the events where these cards would be used. But even if that was to be the case and you were going off of where these cards shine the most, you can go in slot 1 or 3 with this character, right? And extreme class is basically the best bet with this character. I mean, if you look at them, right, they have the same leader skill but flipped, Goku and Frieza, so they're basically a pair and they basically do the same thing as each other. So that's what that is, right? Except Frieza's not supporting, right? He's not supporting with his 3 ki, which could potentially be a bit crucial. However, I feel like Frieza is potentially doing more with his flexibility here with slot 1 or 3. So there's that. Okay, moving on to, let's say, Trunks. Okay, let's see. Should I move on to Trunks or should I just go in order? Probably should go in order, which it so happens to be Trunks, which is funny. Okay, so Trunks, let's see, let's move him up there on the list. So Trunks will be number 8. Now, the reason why Trunks is so, I guess you could say, low or high on this list as far as like being up here versus down here is simply because the way his passive works is he needs this chunk right here, so he gets a ki +3 and attack and defense 40% for the rest of the battle at the end of turn in which the final blow was delivered. This is actually a lot harder to do than you would think it would be. It's just very, very difficult, and he's not getting attack and defense on his 18 key. He is only getting 100% attack, which that's not great. And his 18 key and his 12 key are basically the same thing, right? Except this one is defense and then this one is attack. Neither of them are really super crazy. So you would definitely want attack and defense on one super, or if not both, and then you'd be able to be doing some things. But he doesn't really do anything either. And then for the other buff, you need to be going against 2 or more enemies. That's when he does definitely do more, right? Because he's only getting key +3 versus 1 enemy. When 2 enemies, he's getting key +8. That is a 5 key increase, and then he's getting another 40% attack and defense, which is really good. But most of the time, you're not going to be going against 2 or more enemies, and you're not going to get the final blow with this guy. So that's why he's kind of just left out back. Okay. All right. So moving on. Now we're moving on to Vegeta, and it just so happens to be in this order, which is hilarious, but it's not going to continue in that order. Just in case you're trying to see who I have at number 1, it's not who is lined up here, okay? Just in case you're trying to skip ahead and whatever. But next up is Vegeta. So let's go ahead and move his picture up there. Oh, okay. Trunks, please stop. Please, buddy. Stop it. Thank you. All right, Vegeta is next, because Vegeta is pretty interesting, to say the least, right? After going, brother, will you stop? Stop. You're actually pissing me off. Stop. Thank you. Goodness gracious. I just wanted it to be in line. That's all I wanted. Okay, so Vegeta, the problem with Vegeta is, well, first of all, the good thing about him, he's getting attack and defense on his 18 key. Okay, then he's also getting attack and defense on his 12 key, which he has a potential chance to do, right? So he's got attack 50% and defense 70%, which is good, plus an additional defense 70% when HP is 50% or more. That is significant. We like that. Then with each attack that he does, he gains 1 key up to 5, which is also really good. Plus an additional attack 50% and launches 2 additional attacks with each have a rare chance of becoming a super attack for 4 turns after receiving an attack, which is nothing crazy, but he could potentially do some work and actually get some numbers and whatnot, and actually be able to I don't want to say tank, but definitely do something versus nothing, right? Trunks doesn't really do anything. He needs a lot of of different things to activate his passives and stuff, and then this guy, he's just kind of there. He's just like, hey, I can do this whenever, you know, as long as my HP is 50% or higher, we're chilling. He's like, all right, cool, and if I get hit, then I can basically potentially do additional supers, which is all good stuff. This is all great. Okay, so moving on to number 6. I think number 6 is Krillin. Why do I think that? Well, he's getting attack and defense on his 18 key, which is good. He's also lowering attack. He has a chance to stun on his 12 key, and he's also getting attack and defense again. And then this is where his passive actually like takes off, I guess you could say. Key +3 and defense right away, just 160%. This is the highest defense that we've seen so far as just one singular stat. Then we have, this is probably supposed to be 60%. I'm pretty sure that's a typo, but it says attack +60, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be 60% when performing a super attack, plus an additional attack 30% if it's an ultra super attack. Okay, so we're getting up there as far as numbers go. So Krillin can put up some numbers, plus an additional key +6 and attack and defense 60% when only facing one enemy. Bam, that's even better. And then launch an additional attack with a low chance of it being a super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. which is not bad, but okay. And then attack and defense 20% at the start of turn per existing enemy while facing 2 or more enemies. So he's actually useful as far as like World Tournament or other things where you have to get a bunch of attacks in, or just AoE attacks and whatnot. Like if there's a bunch of enemies, he's not bad. He's definitely usable in some regard, right? So that's why I have him placed where I have him placed, which is number 6. So let's go ahead and shrink him down so he fits right there. And then Vegeta, you can calm down with the hair. And my mouse is actually spazzing. Please send help. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Right there. Bam. And I will say this, I apologize for my voice and everything, the way that it sounds. It doesn't normally sound like this, as most of you that have been following the channel know by now. I have some allergies going on, and you know, it's one of those things. But I'm doing the video anyway, okay? Anyway, so number 5, let's see. We have who do we have? Cell. We have Cell. That's who I believe is number 5, right? So let's go ahead and move Cell to number 5. Shrink him down. There we go. Cell is at number 5. And the reason I put Cell at number 5 was because, well, he's lowering attack and defense. He's giving himself attack and defense as well when he supers on both supers, which is good. He also recovers 15% HP when he supers his 12 ki, and he gets ki +2, attack and defense 60%, plus an additional attack and defense 60% when only facing one enemy, so that's effectively 120, because most of the time it's only going to be one enemy anyway. Then we have a plus an additional ki +2 up to 6, and defense 20% up to 60% again. Another 60% defense with each super attack performed, and then when ki is 18 or more, plus an additional attack 60%, and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack, and if the target enemy is an attack down or a defense down status, performs a critical hit. So you can see, you can see that Cell is he's actually doing quite a bit here. He's additionaling, he's critting, he's bringing attack down and defense down, and just doing a lot. And he's also getting quite a bit of stats from just being around, just supering and whatnot. So this is why I have Cell at, what did I have him at, number 6? No, we had him at 5, my bad. So we have Cell at 5. So he's in top 5, I'd say. Top 5 range. Okay, so who do we have at number 4? I have at number 4 the good old, hold on, mouse, please. Thank you. We have the good old Dr. Wheelo. And the reason why I have Dr. Wheelo as high or low, as you could say, is because he's not really doing a whole lot, especially because he hasn't been Easy 8, and he's actually the most recent LR that we've gotten as far as Prime Battle. I mean, don't take away the fact that he is getting attack and defense on his supers, and he can 100% seal with his 18 ki. That's nothing to scoff at. However, his stats are nothing crazy, right? They're nothing too crazy. However, he does get a medium chance to guard, right? So that's pretty significant. I would say that. So that's why he's at least number 4. But generally, like, the team that you're going to run him on isn't very strong either, and there's not a whole lot of villains in general in the game that are actually decent. Okay, so that's why I placed him where I placed him. He would probably be higher if he had better teams or just better access to really anything, but that's kind of where I have him as of right now. Okay, so coming in at number 3, we have Gohan. Now, the reason I put Gohan at top 3, right? Top 3 Gohan here, because he's actually doing quite a bit. And his teams are generally pretty functional with or without him, right? Like Dr. Wheelo, he needs himself on the team to actually make a team like that function. But Gohan Gohan can kind of just do stuff, and he's getting a lot of stats because Goku's most likely going to be on the team, and that's what he needs more than anything to get a lot of these stats. So let's go ahead and take a moment to look at what Gohan can actually do here, right? Unfortunately, he's not getting attack and defense on his 12 key, but he is getting it on his 18 key, okay? And he's massively lowering the defense of the enemy, which is also significant. So we have Ki +4 attack and defense 59% when there is an ally whose name includes Goku on the team, plus an additional Ki +4 in attack and defense 59% when there is an ally whose name includes Goku attacking in the same turn. And then we have another plus an additional attack and defense 58% when performing a super attack, plus an additional attack and defense 58% and high chance of performing a critical hit if it's a super attack. So he's just getting so much for basically nothing, for just existing, and then performs a critical hit if HP is 58% or less when performing an ultra super attack, which is fine. Like that in itself makes him much stronger all of a sudden. So he's guaranteed critting if your HP is 58% or less. And then we have Ki +12 in attack and defense 58% and reduces damage received by 58% when HP is 58% or less once only. So not only is he hitting a lot harder, but he's much harder to kill when your HP is 58% or less. And with Goku on the team, he's just doing a lot anyway. So that's why I say that Gohan is probably number 3. Now, this is all in my opinion, of course. Now, number 2, I was debating on either Gohan or Tien. Okay. Now, the reason why I would say number 2 goes to Tien is because Tien is doing quite a bit as well. Okay, now granted, Gohan is getting damage reduction and things to survive and guaranteed crits and whatever, but Tien is getting, well, actually, hold on. Now that I'm looking at it again, he's losing HP and he doesn't have attack and defense on his supers, and that's been a big thing that I've been going with so far. I mean, but do I change it now? I mean, okay, let's look at his passive and then we'll make a decision after the fact. So we have Ki +3 for 10 turns from start of turn, so there's a condition there, plus an additional Ki +3 for 10 turns from start of turn when there is an extreme class enemy only, once only, by the way. Okay, so attack and defense 103, is it 103? Yeah, 103,000, plus an additional attack and defense 10,300 with each attack performed, up to 103,000. So he has to get basically what, 10 attacks? 10 attacks. That's a bit much. Okay, I don't remember reading this again. But launches an additional super attack when HP is 80% or more. Okay, let me launch an additional attack when HP is 50% or more. So that's 2 attacks. So he's got one that is guaranteed super and the other one is just an attack. It doesn't even have a chance to become a super, which is unfortunate. And then 50% or more, and then we have medium chance of performing a critical hit when performing an ultra super attack, so he's got a 30% chance to crit right away, and then or great chance of performing a critical hit when HP is 50% or less when performing a ultra super attack, and then plus an additional Ki +10 when HP is 30% or less. Yeah, honestly, we're gonna have to swap that. I think that's how we're gonna swap it. We're gonna go like this. We're gonna take this guy, Gohan, and bring him up to 2, and then Tien, you could be number 3. That's fine. And number 1, I believe, honestly, is Boo. Boo and Bobbity. Now, why do I say this? Well, let's take a look at it, shall we? Boo and Bobbity, they're getting 50% attack and defense on their 18 key super. They have a 50% chance to seal on that super and a 50% chance to stun on that super. And this also carries over to their 12 key, right? So their 12 key does 30% attack and defense, as well as a 50% chance to stun and a 50% chance to crit. And then their passive, 150 to attack and defense with ki +5, plus an additional attack and defense 50% when performing a super attack, launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack, which is an additional period, right? We love that. High chance of evading enemies' attack. This is huge. This right there, that is the best ability that we've seen so far, and it's on a unit like this. None of these other units have anything defensive, except for Willow that has a medium chance to guard. And he's not doing anything with these like a percentile stat boost, right? He's just got flat stats, which is not crazy. That's not really that good. But this guy's got the high chance to dodge. He's getting all of these stats. And then we have more. Plus an additional ki +3, attack and defense 50%, and launches an additional super attack when the target enemy is in attack down status or defense down status, stunned, or the target enemy's super attack is sealed, right? So we get another 50% attack and defense if they seal, attack down, defense down, or stun, right? So if any of this procs, boom, another 50% attack and defense. And then we have plus an additional ki +3 and all allies attack and defense -20% for 4 turns after evading an attack. See, now this right here is nothing super crazy. Like, this is obviously a debuff for us, -20%. But I mean, at the cost of basically you living, you -20% attack and defense, which is fine, right? And it's only for 2 turns. Well, 4 turns, quote unquote, but it's only for like 2 turns. Because the turn that he's, oh, well, no, actually that'd be 4 turns because it's each one. Never mind, I'm goofing. But you still get ki +3. And we recover 10% HP at the end of the turn in which an attack was received, right? So if he does get hit, he does recover 10% HP. So he's doing a lot. And then if you build him full dodge, like, you're chilling, bro. You have the 50% chance to dodge. You have however much you give him as far as your hidden potential. Then he's doing all of this stuff. He's stunning, he's sealing, he's doing a lot. Like, he's doing a lot. Like Boo is just the best prime battle unit in my opinion, just based off of on paper alone. I feel like that's who it is. That's number 1, and then Gohan's number 2, Tien number 3. I like this list. Now, if people could debate with me as to who could be number 3 and 4 between Tien and Dr. Willow, I mean, if we're looking at Dr. Willow as a person that has like defensive abilities and we're really ranking that high, sure, we could go something like this, right? We could do that. Matter of fact, I'll even do that because of the medium chance to guard. Like, cool. Tien is not really doing much else. Let me see. Do I even consider this like this? Is Tien really that bad? I don't think he's that bad. Is he? I might even just move him down again. Just because, like, he needs to get 10 attacks. He's launching an additional... You know what? Yeah. I'm going to move him down 1 more. I'm sorry, Tien. You're one of my favorite Earthlings, if not my favorite Earthling, but sorry, buddy. Let's do this. And you know what? We're even going to go like this for utility's sake, right? Because I feel like Krillin has more utility than he does. So we'll go like this. This is it. This is it. I'm not moving it around anymore. This is it right here. So Krillin is top 5. Cell is top 4. Dr. Willow is, I guess, number 3. That's only because of the medium chance to guard, and he hasn't easy A'd yet. But once he easy A's, I feel like they'll increase that or something. I don't know. But this is what I feel right now with this the Prime Battle tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it really wrong? Did I get it right? Do you agree? What do you think? Okay, let me know what you guys think. And if you guys enjoyed hanging out with me a little bit and talking about our favorite game, Dokkan, please don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.